Okay, so for today's video, I'll be explaining this concept of when is a good time. So I think this is a very often asked question. When is a good time to start to buy? When is a good time to start selling? When is a good time to buy? When is a good time to look for houses? Okay, so there's two kinds of good time. Some people ask regarding like market trends. Like for example, is this a good time to buy now? But some people ask based on scenarios, based on case study. Like example, they have a place, they sell already, when should they start looking for a place? Or they have SSD coming, when should they start selling and all these things. So I'm going to explain it in a very comprehensive way because I'm going to tell you the difference between why other people want you to do this and why you should do that. It's there's a little bit of like conflict of interest, because people do it at their own interest, but does it benefit you as the buyer or seller? Let's go. Okay, so the first one that I want to touch on is when is a good time to start selling. Okay, so when is a good time to start selling, meaning that your BTO going to reach MOP, your resale flat going to reach MOP, your condo going to finish SSD 3 years. When is a good time to start selling? A lot of agents that you approach, if you approach them way before that, they will always recommend you to start early. Okay, so this is where the controversy will come lah. Agents want you to start early or tell you to start early. Number one, this is just a disclaimer. This is from what I hear say in the market and what I experience. Okay, number one, they scared you run away. Meaning that now they have find a seller. They don't want this seller to run away. So they will always tell you to start early. Okay. Number two, they want you to start early so that they can fish for buyers. Means because you see when you start early, right, the buyer come and buy your unit. Can they buy or not? Cannot. MOP, haven't MOP, cannot buy. SSD, they can sell or not? Can. You option first, but you must make sure that your exercise is after the SSD period. But the thing is like this. If your SSD is after the exercise period, it means that you have to extend your option period from 14 days to maybe 2 months or 3 months. So it gives you less security because the buyer can have more time to decide not to buy. So by starting early does not benefit you in this scenario. So my recommendation on when to start is always start 1 to 2 weeks before MOP date or before SSD date. Why? Very simple. You start when you are ready to sell. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people put you in a situation where you cannot sell. Then people try to negotiate with you. Or even worse, I have scenario where customer decide to start early. Then at the start when they get offer, right, they will feel like, hey, it's still early. Then when the time is up, right, then they feel that, hey, why I wait so long already, but I still cannot sell, So there's this like mindset issue that is very hard to balance. So always start at the right time. As long as you start at the correct time, you won't have all these issues. The right time is always 1 to 2 weeks before your MOP or 1 to 2 weeks before your SSD end date. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is when is a good time to buy. Okay, I tell you, this question is separate to two because some people will ask in the scenario of, hey, I want to buy a place. When is a good time to buy? Okay, if you're asking in that context, then my answer to you is only start buying when you need a place. So you can actually count back and count front depending on how you do it. But example, like let's say I want to have my place by September, then 2 months renovation, that's like July, then completion for another 3 months, maybe from July minus 3, that's in April. So means I have to buy now. That's how we calculate, okay? Anyway, there's a renovation going on. I don't know whether the back end editing can remove all this reno sound. So please pardon it, I cannot control these factors, but now I'm in the mood and in the info to do this video, then I will finish it. Okay, so when you need a place, then you start looking for it. Okay, so you need to calculate. If you don't know how to calculate, call Aaron. My number is here. Number. Okay. Okay. Next, when to start buying if you are selling? Means first of all, you have to come up with a scenario, meaning that do you currently have a place first? If you have a place, right, then you need the proceeds from that place to go to the new place. Then you cannot start buying first. You have to start selling first because you need the proceeds from the selling to go over to the buying. Okay, in order to do that, I always tell the customer, sell first, then later you can buy. Okay, only buy when you are ready to buy. The concept is like this. Why? Very simple. I have many years of experience, 15 years. I've seen clients that fail in their buying. Why? Because they start very early. Maybe they start 3-4 months before they sell. They haven't even sell. Then they go and see. Wow, they see something they like, no, really like. Wow, then they try to rush in their selling. Then when they rush in their selling, they fail. They cannot sell in time, the unit already sold. Then the expectation and benchmark, right, they put themselves at that unit. After they sell, they keep trying to find back the same unit. It's very stressed and disappointing to the customer. So if they have not started it, they will not have seen that unit. They will not have to go through this process. Because what are the chances that you can sell immediately and see something you like and then that unit will wait for you? The chances are very, very, very low. So my advice is always that you cannot think that all the stars will align in a row one. Okay, so in property, we need to do a plan A, plan B, plan C planning. We need to help. To me, I need to help my customer to understand, okay, what if this doesn't work, that doesn't work, what are the chances of this working, that working, you know? So we don't work in a way where we try to beat the odds, because it's very difficult to beat the odds. And if you want to like try those like low probability thing, then you may get into a situation that you start to rush for time, rush to sell, rush to buy, get very stressed, and that is not an enjoyable process for your property transition. Number 3, when is a good time to start planning? My MOP is coming, SSD is planning, okay, whatever, okay. Some people, the MOP is coming, SSD is coming, they want to sell and move to the next house. Okay, I tell you guys, if now you are not ready to buy a house, you want to buy a house next year, or 6 months later, or 2 years later, there is nothing to plan now. There's only one thing you need to do. Make sure you work hard, get pay increment, save a lot of money. Okay? There is nothing to plan now. Why? Very simple. Okay, I give you all guys an example. Like example for mortgage. Your mortgage loan, right? The benchmark that is being used to calculate the mortgage loan keep fluctuating and changing because interest go up and interest go down. So the loan this year and the loan last year is very different. Number 2, you wouldn't know what is the property price at that moment and what is the property outlook at that moment. What that is correct to buy today may not be correct to buy at 2 years later or 1 year later. And price may not be correct, price may be different. And the price for your property may also be different in that 1 year or 2 year span. So there's really nothing much to plan in detail. Okay, to me, even for myself, I do 2 things. 1, work hard, save money. Okay, work hard, save money, make sure that you earn more money so that you can get a higher loan. Number 2, save more money, prepare the money for down payment and all these things. Then when the date is nearer, then we start to get a more accurate picture of how this thing should be done. Okay, that's very important. Next, when is a good time to decouple? Okay, so this one I want to explain because I know a lot of people, there's this trend in the market that people keep talking about decoupling. Okay, so anyway, HDB cannot decouple. Okay, so I just want to emphasize on this. Is decoupling wrong? No, decoupling is not wrong. Decoupling is correct if you do it correctly. So I always tell customer, if today you want to decouple this house, meaning that you want to keep this house, but you want to decouple your name out of this house, number 1, is it worth it? Okay, because decoupling legal fee is about 6,000 plus minus. how much tax are you paying? 50%? Or are you doing 1%? Of course, those people that plan forward doing 1%, it's very cheap for you to do decoupling. But those people going for 50%, first of all, ask yourself, is this two amount of money worth it or not? Because after decoupling, you still have to pay SSD if you sell off within 3 years. Okay, and all this money that you add up, right, is it worth continuing holding on to this flat? Or are you decoupling just for convenience sake? Or are you decoupling just because your agent wants to make you buy another one? To me, if you never do the decoupling process correctly, in the next 1, 2 years, 3 years, you decide to sell your place, it's not worth it. You have paid so much money to decouple, then within the 3 years, you say, oh, I'm planning to sell off my place again. Then what's the point of decoupling a place? So when you decouple a place, it's because you want to continue to hold this place for another 5 years or 6 years. It's like you are buying something again. So you are just buying this thing again, and you make sure that you see growth in this thing for the next 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years. If you don't see growth in this property anymore, do not decouple. Okay? And again, when is it a good time to decouple? You need to decouple first. Then you can go and buy. Don't go and buy, then go and rush in your decoupling again. Okay? So a lot of times, right, I feel that the concept is that when as a customer, as a buyer and seller, you like to buy convenience. So agents knows that your consumer like to buy convenience. So they will tell you, oh, you can do this first, you can extend, you can do this, you can do that, give you a lot of convenience. But the thing is, in reality, you realize that this convenience, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, may sound convenient, but in reality, it's not realistic. Means because of this extension here and there, right, sometimes you get into the trouble of rushing to sell, rushing to buy, not able to find the things that you want, or you realize the probability of getting another unit that doesn't need extension is very low. So these are some of the scenarios that is happening in the property market today. So do not get trapped in the sake of convenience, because this convenience may sound convenience to you, but in reality, it is not convenient at all, and the timeline doesn't synchronize, doesn't match, and there's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of low probabilities odds that you are trying to challenge. So that's it for today's video. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and see you in the next episode, and bye bye.